This video is brought to you by Solar Tilt. More on them later in the show. Imagine, if you will, a corporate hiring Julius Malema to be the CEO of that particular company, only to find out that Julius Malema is a shocking racist. Weird, don't you think? But unfortunately for the University of Cape Town, this is exactly what has happened to them.
I think this is a moment in time that we all need to step back and reflect on, because we've heard since 1994 in the new era, the new dispensation, and what we're starting to find is that a number of leadership positions have been filled by certain individuals based on a political identity or a political agenda. And what we're finding is that those individuals are in many instances worse for that agenda than the very thing that they're attempting to cure.
Exactly. So UCT has a history of this. From 2015 to 2018, there were the fees must fall that basically destroyed that university. And therefore, as reparations and recompense for the blatant inert racism of this university, they decided to hire Professor Paking as the Vice Chancellor. Professor Paking has always been a deeply unpleasant racist individual. She has not changed. UCT knew about her beforehand, didn't care about the warning signs, and hired her anyway. And during her reign of terror at UCT, the allegations are frankly quite shocking, but not surprising.
So the news article actually draws reference to the type of habit that this individual seemed to have. And that is, every time you challenged her, she basically said, "You're only after me because I'm a small black woman." I think we've all heard that before. The news article also goes further in that, actually, if you look at the investigations that have been done around her reign, she appeared to encourage racial division on the basis that only her version of black, not even others' version of black, was the true black. And really what we needed was a degree of black supremacy within the university, and everybody else, according to her, should footsack. Now, we've seen that in a number of environments around the country in leadership positions that have attempted to embody and imbibe this racial identity program.
I mean, she went as far as to say that colored people are not really black, that Indian colleagues are not really black. Blackness to her was defined by the kinkiness of her hair. Like complete insanity of the highest order. But again, this woman had these ideas before she arrived. UCT knew about these ideas, they knew about her history, and yet they still proceeded to hire her. This story is not about Professor Paking. This story is about an institution like UCT who wants to de-race itself only to become inadvertently and ultimately far more racist.
But as we know, according to the intersectional ideology and according to critical race theory, black people can't be racist. Only white people can be racist. In fact, any form of racism must be institutional. Which is curious, Ramon, because the independent investigation into the UTC governance final report, which looked at her reign of terror at the university, concluded that she was a flaming racist, mate. And they quoted sections that she said, such as, "You're not black, you don't have hair like me, you don't smell like me, you don't look like me, you don't taste like me," and other such wonderful innuendos from this individual. Everybody who worked with her felt that they were walking on eggshells, because at any moment she could launch into a triad around how she was the only person that really mattered there because of previously disadvantaged status and other such stuff. Now, what that meant is that a number of high-ranking individuals at UTC left the university because they felt it was no longer pleasant to stay there. And that ultimately led to decay of the institutional structure. As Ramon says, this isn't a story about this individual professor. This is a story of South Africa. Wherever we attempt to embody this ideology, this is the result.
And the report even makes reference to the prior council of UCT. The council is supposed to look after the interests of UCT, the interests of the staff, the interests of the students. The council did very little to dissuade Professor Paking from her blatant racism. And you know why? Because the council members truly believe the exact same things as Professor Paking. They believe exactly the same things. And that is why they refused to take definitive action against her until it was ultimately too late. The entire edifice of UCT has been polluted by this diversity BE cadre deployment nonsense.
This is how the ANC wins. And if you look at the university themselves, even when they dismissed her, they kept the reasons for dismissing her very, very quiet. They made it seem like, it was just a parting of ways. Maybe she was stepping back to pursue other avenues. And to make it even sweeter for her, so that she kind of kept quiet as she left, they gave her a golden handshake of 12 million rand. What a great grift. You go into a university, you encourage all the professors that have been there for donkey's years, who have all the wealth, experience, and qualifications to leave, because all you do is you walk around calling racism all day, screaming and shouting at people that you're not black like me, and only black supremacy exists here. If you're not black, you shouldn't be here. And then at the end of the day, everybody turns around and says, oh, you probably shouldn't do that, but we'll reward you with 12 million rand. Now, what's interesting is you may say, wow, that's really hyperbolic of you. Well, no, it's not, because the current Vice-Chancellor of UTC has had to now, after the inquiry and the investigations have revealed what she was truly like, he's had to go to all the staff and apologize to them personally for all the years of terror that they experienced at her hands and for the university not doing anything about it at the time. Now, we all know why they did nothing, and that's because they're scared to be called racist, now weren't they?
Spot on, Byron. Absolutely spot on. Let this be a lesson to corporate South Africa, political parties, and other institutions of prestige about what happens when you try to toe the line of people who want you dead. Unfortunately, I doubt that lesson will be learnt at all by anyone. We all need to tilt away from Eskom, but optimizing solar panels can be quite tricky. However, thanks to SolarTilt, that problem is now in the past. Very much like Eskom. SolarTilt's unique, patented system lets you tilt your solar panels towards the sun, which optimizes energy production throughout the entire day. And it can be installed on any roof type as well. SolarTilt is made in South Africa for South African conditions, therefore making it almost impossible to steal thanks to its anti-theft bracket. Being proud patriots, SolarTilt is made in South Africa for South Africans. So tilt away from the darkness and into the light with SolarTilt. For more info, check out their website and Facebook page, which is linked below.